What is going on, everybody? It is time for another Pop Culture Crisis movie review that is not a movie review. It is a television review for Episode 5 of Star Wars, The Acolyte. It's entitled Night because, Episode 4 was entitled Day. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host of Pop Culture Crisis. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. This episode was the big reveal, and we are more than half the way through the first season, which is a good thing. But you said you didn't hate it.
I did not. Okay, look, this episode was about 80% action, and it was there was actually things that were revealed. There was consistent action, even though you couldn't tell what was going on half the time because it was so poorly choreographed. But at least stuff was happening.
You sent me that still where the lightsaber literally is going through Jecky's back.
Okay, that doesn't bother me because he had the two. He had the Wakizashi and he had the regular. Okay, so he had two of them. That's fine. But I'm saying the actual choreography, the actual shots, where it's like, so it's Jecky and Darth Gimp Mask, and they're fighting, and it's panning with them in the jungle. And whether it's Jecky and him or Soul and him, you can't really tell always. It's not well choreographed geographically. Like, you don't know exactly what's going on, partially because the show is, as I keep complaining about, shot at permanent dusk.
Yes.
But also, but again, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm begging for a little something here. So we got a good amount of action in this episode, and I will say that, okay, spoiler alert, we will get into the spoilers here. It is May's ex partner or friend or whatever, Kamir, who partner in crime, who is revealed as Darth Gimp Mask. And I will say that the actor,
who could have seen this coming?
I know. Manny Jacinto is probably the most gifted of the actors that I've seen on this show, as far as someone who's obviously Lee Jung-jae, English isn't his first language. I still think that his age and his demeanor gives a good realm to his character, but Manny Jacinto actually seems to bring at least a little bit of charisma to something that's severely lacking from all the other characters. This is not an endorsement of this as a fantastic episode. Certainly, like, I tweeted about this last night and said, like, stuff happened. I still have no idea what May is doing, but like Nerdrotic said, it was the best of a bunch of bad episodes, meaning that it's still shit. And I'm like, yes. Okay,
his mediocre, maybe at best, acting aside, I just can't buy into this character. Like, I was like, who is this fake, edgy MF who showed up looking like a literal 12-year-old boy in a poorly made Halloween costume that we're supposed to buy as this intimidating villain who has the evil master plan, like Dr. Finkelstein from Nightmare Before Christmas, looking as MF.
I am gonna simp for one piece of logic that he brings into the show, which is, again, spoiler alert. We're gonna put this in the text beforehand too, guys. He murks Jecky, and then Master Soul's like, she was a child. He's like, you brought her here.
Right. They made a mention of that in the previous episode, that he was like entrusting her with this responsibility.
I was like, he's right.
It's
you
your fault.
Bring her here. You brought her here, you idiot.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're supposed to think at this point. One thing that stood out to me was Yord leading Osha through the forest. And they chose not to give him a moment where he could rescue her from the clutches of Kamir or Gimp Mask, whatever you want to call him.
Because he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and he was kind of saying, like, I don't want to have to subdue you, but I will if you force my hand. Yeah. But then he didn't end up doing that, and she forced him to go back to the scene of the combat.
Correct.
You were right that the choreography of this combat is lacking. It leaves a lot to be desired, but for the most part, I just still feel like the level of hand-to-hand fighting is out of place in this universe, and that's why it doesn't feel like a Star Wars project.
It's funny. So I enjoyed the scene between Jecky and Darth Gimp Mask in Kamir. I thought May and Jecky, it was like watching two 12-year-old children fight.
Yeah, it also didn't make sense because if Jecky can use the Force to throw this woman around and drag her across the floor, why can't she use the Force to simply put her wrists into handcuffs?
Correct.
Like,
also, I want to bring up a tweet from Star Wars Theory.
okay.
Where he perfectly encapsulates why the Osha and May storyline is a problem. So I'm going to read this word for word here.
Okay.
Here we go. I'm going to put it on screen too. May went from "we are sisters, we are one under the stars" to "I'll kill you" to training 16 years to avenge her sister by killing Jedi Masters, to then turning on her master after said 16 years after a long hike to be with her sister, and telling him he's going to turn herself into Soul and the Jedi, to running away at every chance she could to protect her sister against her master, to then hugging her sister and saying "let's be together," then turning on her sister once again, knocking her out to don her clothes, pretend to be her and kill Soul to get back to her master. The level of wishy-washiness is insane. I have no idea what she's doing or what she's meaning to do at any given time.
Right. There's
don't.
no explanation for
Like,
what the
okay,
motives
maybe
are.
I'm just not media literate enough
No, yeah,
to understand.
it's clearly our fault as the audience for not understanding.
I get Osha. She's, for the most part, I guess,
She's
pretty
blank,
consistent.
but she has clear motivations.
But May, I get nothing. I've got no idea what she wants or what she's doing.
Yeah, and it's like they're jerking us back and forth between whether we should sympathize with May or
I have
not.
no clue.
Is she just a clear-cut sociopath from birth, or does she have some kind of just cause in feeling like the Jedi invaded her home and stole her sister?
I've got to also, like, wouldn't Soul be able to sense that she wasn't her sister?
Yes, I literally said the same thing. Like,
after the power of haircuts.
He's a Jedi. Should he not be able to sense that this is not the same person?
Yeah.
Or
Like,
even just by human intuition.
also,
but-
I need to be able to, like, I have to get a haircut tonight, so I'm wearing a hat. And I need to find May, the hairstylist,
a
who just
lightsaber hairdresser.
that
was quite a dangerous move.
one
for her.
fell swoop, and it's perfectly shaped like her sister's haircut.
Yeah, it was supposed to be this like epic moment, but there's no gravity to any of it. When May is getting chased through the forest by Ezra Miller from Wish, he literally looks like he's chasing her on a hoverboard, where they like zoomed in on his mask and he's like moving through the forest almost like he's levitating. It was the cringiest shit I've ever seen. His line where he says "coward." That was the cringiest line I've heard him deliver so far.
Also, the his mask voice is James Earl Jones from Wish. It's Vader from Wish.
I thought, like, when he did that face reveal, they probably thought that was going to have the ladies swooning, but...
Should have got Roger L. Jackson, who voices Ghostface in the Scream franchise, to voice him.
By the way, he delivered this line, like, "The Jedi say I can't exist." Yeah. Which really feels like a line you would hear on leftist Twitter, like... Yeah. They're trying to deny our existence.
Well, here's the other thing that would have helped is, like, you gave a whole episode, just some Monday morning quarterbacking here. Now, it would take some rejiggering of the order episodes, but you would have needed to go into more backstory for Khmer to make the reveal feel important.
Which is why when he delivers stupid lines like that, it sounds so cringy and it has no weight. Like he said, "I've accepted my darkness."
Just off the top of my head.
They really thought they were eating with those sizzling one-liners.
Just off the top of my head, like, you would have incorporated him in some way into May and Osha's childhood. Maybe all three of them got separated after the fire. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you need to incorporate his character with more backstory so that his reveal... I mean, I think
I have no idea how he met May or anything.
It still would have telegraphed it too much. I think everyone would have known that it would have been him. Either way,
obvious.
Right? But I'm just saying that, like, if you give his character more backstory, certainly those words that he's trying to deliver, which I believe out of all of he's the best of a bad bunch as far as actual on-screen presence, it would have carried more weight if you actually understood more about what his backstory was.
Yeah, and I know that we're not getting super deep into lore inconsistencies because neither of us are super into Star Wars, but one thing that did stand out to me just with my surface knowledge, is it seems like a plot hole that Sol refuses to kill May or Camille because they're unarmed. He actually says in this episode that the Jedi will not attack the unarmed. That is just a made up rule. I never heard that before. If I'm wrong, anyone in the comments, let me know. But like, the Jedi don't operate by Batman rules, right? That doesn't seem to make any sense. And also, he's an active threat to everyone around him. So it just kind of made Sol seem like a softie who couldn't defend the people who were entrusted to his authority.
And okay, again, I could be wrong about this, but Jackie is a Padawan and still in training. It seemed like power imbalance where she was suddenly going toe to toe with Camille at the end after he had just taken out all of those Jedis at the beginning rather effortlessly. Again, there could be precedent for that. I don't know, but there's power inconsistencies and stuff like that. That doesn't bother me as much. If the action had been better choreographed, I think I would have liked it a fair bit more. And again, of all the 5 episodes, I probably disliked this one the least. If they could keep up that level of action every episode, I'm not saying you have to have that many reveals in every episode, but if you could have kept up that level of action in every episode, since you clearly are not good at writing dialogue, perhaps that would have been the best path forward.
But the fact that the plot is so incoherent means that all of the action scenes are totally weightless.
Yes.
Another thing I felt was like ripped out of one of the movies, one of the prequel movies, is when May turns against Osha toward the end of the episode, and she says, like, you know, they turned you against me. The way that Anakin said that to Obi-Wan about Padme, he said, you turned her against me. In Revenge of the Sith, I believe. It seems like they just ripped that line, but then siphoned it of all of its gravitas.
That's one of the biggest issues with most modern day remakes is it's not about the gravity of it, it's about the member berries. So it's like you remember the line,
it's like, what am I supposed to
forget that the line
face
mattered because the line had meaning when it was said before.
Right. And again, with things having no weight, why is it that after Ezra Miller from Wish gets attacked by a bunch of alien wasps, he somehow survives it and just shows up again?
Yeah, I put in my notes, I'm like, what the hell happened to him?
I don't understand. Is he just this magical being who's invincible and like immortal? I don't understand what happened there.
We'll have to wait and see. If this show wants to turn it around, they have to bring more clarity to the May character. They have to. They cannot leave things this muddled.
They might clear it up, but I doubt it. One of the worst lines, though, I think at the very end of the episode, delivered by Camille, is when he says, even in the revelation of our triumph, we see the depth of our despair. What is this try-hard emo MySpace quote shit that he's doing?
I rolled my eyes.
What does that even mean? Please tell me what that means. Yeah. I don't understand this character at all.
You just know when they were writing it, like, oh, this is going to hit so hard.
They really thought they were cooking. Like, that's the sad thing, is they really thought they did something. I guess by they, I mean Leslie Headland.
Yeah. So guys, let us know down below what you thought of this episode. If you are, in fact, watching the show. If you're not, obviously.
Every time we say spoiler alert, they're like, no one's watching this shit.
I left one, like, I put this tweet up that just said, like, I hated this episode less and got called a Disney sheep. So, you know, people aren't really paying attention. Guys, let us know down below what you think of this episode of The Acolyte, if you are, in fact, watching it, or perhaps what your thoughts are on Disney Star Wars as a whole. Are you enjoying it? Do you dislike it? Leave those comments down below, and we will be back with episode 6 review for The Acolyte next week. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.